Welcome to The Traditional Way. I'm your host, Brett Shumway. This podcast is brought to you by the Martial Arts Internet Network, where you can find all things martial arts related on our social media pages and the main app. Available on Apple and Google stores, where you can catch up on all the open circuit sport karate news with Inside Scoop, catch a movie review with Fists, Kicks, and Flicks, or find out what's happening in the Jiu-Jitsu and MMA worlds on the Winner's Circle. Plus now exclusive content that is only available on the app. On this episode, we're going to discuss the results from the Karate One Youth League event that took place in Harare, Zimbabwe on the 26th through 28th of March. And I'm not going to sugarcoat this. It was small. Only 174 athletes were present from with over 200 entries. This would be considered a small for any tournament, but for a WKF sanctioned event, I would say this was abysmal. Now, a lot of factors could be blamed for this. I was talking to a source that did confirm that this location was not the easiest to get to logistically for travel, but you also have to consider if the events in the Middle East right now are having some effect. I would assume that many athletes may not want to travel right now if their connecting flights are through Dubai, Kuwait, etc. I hope this isn't something that we are going to see for future events. We have Manila right around the corner for the youth athletes. Also, the small turnout did affect some divisions, as not all cadet and junior divisions ran at this event due to simply not having any competitors in the division. Additionally, the U.S. team made its selection for the U21 Pan American Championships this weekend. I will bring you those athletes that will be representing the United States later in the show. But for now, let's take a look at what happened in Zimbabwe. The young ladies start out in the minus 54 kilogram division, where Hanna Olszewski walks through the competition on her way to her first gold medal in the WKF, as she would not surrender a single point until the final, where she pulled out a 6-1 victory, moving her up into the number 6 ranked position within the division. In the over 61 kilogram division, Vasilike Fagoyeni, would go untouched through the biggest female kumite division for the cadets, as her perfect day would result in her first WKF gold medal. This win also catapults her up into the world number 5 spot in the rankings. Adam Gazoani would also not surrender a point in the minus 52 kilogram division as he fought through the bracket. However, he would have a tough fight in the final, where he would squeak out a 1-0 victory to secure his first WKF gold. In the minus 63 kilogram division, saw an all South African final as Dylan Seyfried and Rahi Ramchunder fight their way through the bracket to square off against one another, both looking to take home their first WKF gold. It was an exciting match, and it was the newcomer Ramchunder pulling out a 4-2 victory to top the podium. In the minus 70 kilogram division, Valentino Rojas got his money's worth, as he did not get the luxury of a bye in the first round as the majority of the division did. And he made sure that he made a statement. He outscored his opponents 20-1 en route to the final, where he'd win his first WKF gold by a score of 5-2 in that match. In the female kata, it wasn't just an all-German final, it was an all-Beadman final, where the twins Greta and Hannah would face off against each other in a battle of Kusanku. On the way to the final, they dominated the competition, as Greta won all her matches 4-1, and Hannah won all her matches 5-0. When they met up for both of their first final matches of their career, Hannah ran Chibana and Greta chose Chatnara. When it was all said and done, it would be Hannah that would remain perfect on her day, defeating her sister 5-0. The male kata had an interesting bracket. The final came down to Salim Abdu and Cristiano Cuello, but what was interesting is that each style seemed to dominate each bracket. Abdu, a Shotokan stylist, came out of a bracket where 80% of the athletes were Shotokan, and Cuello had a similar breakdown in favor of Shiraru stylist in his bracket. Now, I'm not sure I've ever seen this big of a split from bracket to bracket. It usually is very evenly distributed throughout the competition. In the final, KO Super Empe would not be enough against Abdu's Go to Shiho show, as Abdu would take the gold by a score of 5-0. Isis Matos showed the minus 53 kilogram division what happens when a top 5 athlete shows up against unranked fighters. Now, if you just look at the score, it doesn't look that dominating because she only outscored her opponents 10-0 in her 4 matches. But if you watched any of it, she was so in control of those matches that she didn't need to blow anyone out of the water. It was a calm, relaxed day for her on her way to top the podium. Same results in the minus 59 kilogram division, but this time it was the world number 1 Hannah Shonegard that dominated the bracket. And not just her gold here, which would have been enough. Since stepping up into the juniors at the beginning of this year, she has made every final that she has entered, and she has outscored her opponents 87-7. Now, she has to be one to watch in the future. She already has 9 medals in her first 13 events, and she just turned 16 and continues to get better at every event. Miley Schindler makes her first final as a junior, as she hasn't had the instant success after aging up that she'd hoped for. And she had a mixed day, winning her first fight 10-0, then having a really tough fight in the semifinals, pulling out a 7-5 win to advance to the final where she'd win that 4-0. This would be her first gold within the WKF. Now, here's something I don't get to say very often, and it was interesting. This was an all Turkmenistan final in the minus 55 kilogram division, as Jora Ovezmaradov and Gurbanazar Amandordayev fight their way through the bracket to face off against one another. Both fighters seeing their first final as a junior. And they didn't disappoint, as they had a tough match that would find Ovezmaradov pulling out a 3-2 victory. Brandon Eichelbrecht breaks through in his first attempt in the junior age category, as he would have some tough fights on his way to the final of the minus 61 kilogram division. He had his toughest fight in the semifinals, but got through that by a score of 3-2 and would take the final 6-1 for his first gold within the WKF. The minus 68 kilogram division had to be the most uneventful division I've ever seen in the WKF. I wish I could get excited about these results, but it is the fuel on the fire for people who don't like traditional kumite. So I start by stating that Paul Horner won the gold medal in this division, but how he won is the issue people will have. He only scored 2 points all division. He won his first 2 fights by a score of 1-0. He then won both the semifinal and the final by the Hante decision, because both of those fights ended in a 0-0 draw. You know, my colleague and co-host of Inside Scoop on this network, Alex Dingman, once asked on his show, how do you win a fight when no points are scored? Well, Alex, you got to ask Paul Horner, because he just won a gold medal doing it. It was the second all-South African final in the over 76 kilogram division, as Rio Cruz and Andre Dreyer fight their way through the toughest kumite division of the event that had a lot of close matches, both of whom had their fair share of close matches on their way to meeting up against each other. In the final, Cruz made a statement, winning the final 9-3 to secure his first WKF gold medal. The female kata division found Linnea Osman and Nikita Ufendikova both going perfect through the bracket until they met up into their first WKF final for the both of them. And they would have a battle of Kusanku, with Osman running Chibana and Ufendikova opting to run Kishimoto. In the end, it would be Ufendikova winning 4-1 in her first WKF gold. And the male kata division saw Nola Scudel and Siobhan Ramdahal were on cruise control until the semifinals, and where they would not win over all the judges in that round, but would still secure enough votes to get to the final, where they would have a Super MP showdown to see who would win their first WKF gold medal. And it would be Scudel that would take the honors by a score of 5-0. The USNKF had their team selection for the U21 age categories this past weekend to determine which athletes would represent the U.S. at the Pan American Continental Championships this year. Here are the top seeds in each division. In the minus 50 kilogram division, Layla Takazan takes a top seed after not being active since she was a cadet. Melanie Altuve, the former junior Pan American title holder, will take her shot at a U21 title for the first time in the minus 55 kilogram division. Braylon McCammon will make her first PKF appearance of her career in the minus 61 kilogram division. In the minus 68 kilogram division, Maylee Espinoza will take her shot in the U21 division, as she looks to correct her loss in the bronze medal match from last year as a junior. And newcomer McKenna Merzen will represent the over 68 kilogram division, as she has yet to compete within the WKF. The men will be represented by Gene Dorta in the minus 60 kilogram division, as he looks to add a gold or silver to his pair of bronzes as a junior. The minus 67 kilogram division, we'll see world number 3, Evangelos Akde, if he can go perfect in the PKF for the U21 division, as he has already won this division the past 2 years, and he's looking to close out his U21 career with a 3rd gold medal. Jan Buka drops down in weight to the minus 75 kilogram division this year, as he will represent the U.S. for the 2nd time. The minus 84 kilogram division, Michael Malerno steps up into the U21 category, looking to get another gold to match his junior one from 2024. And Dean Simos will make his PKF debut in the over 84 kilogram division. In female kata, Maddie Kennaway looks to add another gold to her career, as she hasn't topped the podium since she was a cadet at the PKFs. And in male kata, Pedro Pinheiro, the current world number 13 ranked U21 athlete, will make his PKF debut. And we wish all the luck to all the athletes that will be representing the U.S. at the Pan American Championships this year. And with that, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to another episode of The Traditional Way. Join me on the next episode where we will break down the results from the 3rd Premier League event from Lishan, China. Till then, continue to support the Martial Arts Internet Network and all of our content. Until next time, guys.